The Science of Getting Rich Remixed. Chapter 9. The Will and the Mental Diet. Most people miss this. Wattles nailed it. The will is not for controlling other people or forcing outcomes. That's robbery, whether by fist or by thought. Spirit never honors coercion. You cannot will someone else to change, even for their own good. You cannot bend God into submission either. Divine intelligence is not stubborn or stingy. It is already for you, more eager to give you than you are to receive. So what is the proper use of the will? To control yourself, to discipline your attention, to keep your mind fixed on vision, gratitude, and faith, no matter the distraction. This is where most people fail. They try to think rich for 5 minutes a day, then spend the other 23 hours scrolling news about layoffs, doom, and corruption. They pray for abundance while watching social feeds that glorify scarcity and outrage. They want to be healthy while bringing binging medical shows about disease. They want loving, stable relationships while consuming dysfunctional reality television. Wattles warned, you don't get health by studying sickness. You don't get righteous by studying sin. And you don't get wealth by studying poverty. How to cultivate your mental diet. Your mental diet works like your food diet. What you consume becomes part of you. Here's how to audit and upgrade. The 3-category system. Eliminate. Content that glorifies suffering, celebrity failure, or profits from outrage. That includes doomscroll social media, algorithm rage bait, 24/7 crisis news designed to trigger fear, not inform, and reality TV that normalizes dysfunction. Limit content that occasionally useful but toxic in excess. News. Get informed, don't get addicted. 15 minutes daily max. Social comparison scrolls. Check in, don't live there. Problem-focused conversations. Acknowledge, don't rehearse. Amplify. Content that expands possibilities. Biographies of people who overcome what you're facing. Documentaries about innovation, nature, human potential. And conversations with people who see solutions, not problems. Notice I'm not saying ignore reality. I'm saying limit your exposure to narratives of lack and increase your exposure to narratives of possibility. Your nervous system can't tell the difference between a real threat and a TikTok about a threat. Protect your attention like it's the most valuable asset, because it is. And let's strike the word from your vocabulary. Poor. To call anyone poor, even in sympathy, even in the backhand blessing, poor so-and-so, is to bind them in a prison of limitation. Poverty is not identity, it's a temporary condition. When you label someone poor, you reinforce that lie that they cannot rise, that higher power will not lift them. That is not truth. Biblical wisdom affirms this. When God changed a life, he often changed the name. Abram became Abraham, father of many nations, expanding his destiny. Jacob, once known as the supplanter and deceiver, was renamed Israel, one who wrestles with God and prevails, a mark of transformation and overcoming. Simon, impulsive and unstable, was renamed Peter, the Rock, destined to anchor the church. Even Rachel, in her grief, named her son Benoni, son of my sorrow, but his father, Jacob, renamed him Benjamin, son of my right hand, affirming strength instead of despair. Over and over, names shifted from limitation to destiny, from weakness to divine potential. Not poor, but abundant. Not broke, but whole. Not sinner, but saint in progress. To see someone at their best is no coercion, it's a blessing. It's calling forth their highest possibility. And when you desire for others what you desire for yourself, it returns to you tenfold. This is why Wattles insists that your will must refuse fixation on sin, evil, disease, or lack. Not because they don't exist, but because what you magnify multiplies. To study corruption is to give it energy. To binge tragedy is to tune your nervous system to despair. And here's where well-meaning people go astray. They fixate so much on others' struggles, they reinforce their very limitations they're trying to address. When you constantly see someone as broken or struggling, you're having a vision of them in lack, and what you hold in vision for others, you help create. That doesn't mean ignore real obstacles or refuse practical help. It means acknowledge the current situation without making it their permanent identity. See the person, not just the problem. See their potential, not just their pain. That's how you truly bless someone, by holding a vision of their breakthrough even when they can't yet see it themselves. Wattles warned that even well-meaning people miss this. They fill their minds with documentaries about corruption, with horror films that flood the nervous system with fear, or video games that normalize violence until children believe brutality is entitlement. And then they wonder why society looks darker every year. When you feed your imagination is what you seed into the collective field. The truth is that your will is a gate. Keep it shut against the flood of outrage and fear, and keep it open towards vision, faith, and gratitude. Every time you succeed in directing your thought, you build strength. Every time you let your mind wander into complaint or pity, you weaken the muscle. The universe does not need your protest. Humanity needs your vision. Spirit does not multiply through your anger. Spirit multiplies through your gratitude. When you use your will correctly, you stop being a critic of life and start being a co-creator of it. Modern proof. Mike Rowe built his dirty jobs empire not by escaping hard work, but by reframing it. While culture often dismissed blue-collar labor as less than, Rowe shined a spotlight on the dignity and skill of the people working the toughest jobs. The result? An Emmy-winning career and a platform that celebrated usefulness as wealth. But Rowe didn't stop there. Through his MicroWorks Foundation, he has funded millions in scholarships for trade schools, proving that prosperity doesn't require a 4-year degree. By helping thousands launch careers in the trades, plumbers, welders, mechanics, builders, he demonstrated Wattles' law in action. When you bless value instead of cursing lack, increase multiplies. Rowe showed that what most overlooked holds the seeds of opportunity, and that honoring real work can transform not just one career, but entire communities. Wisdoms across traditions. Every wisdom tradition agrees. Willpower is not for domination, but for devotion. The Stoics taught that control of self, not the world, is the path to freedom. Hindu scriptures reminds us that self-mastery is greater than mastery of 1,000 men in battle. And in the Tao Te Ching, Laozi insists that true power is not force, but alignment. He who conquers others is strong. He who conquers himself is mighty. So let's be clear. Your will is not a hammer for beating life into shape. It's a steering wheel. Use it to direct your attention towards abundance, gratitude, and vision, and you'll find yourself on the road to wealth without detour. What to do next? Audit your inputs. For 1 week, track what you read, watch, and scroll. Does it feed possibility or does it feed fear? Cut what drains. Blessed by vision. When tempted to label someone poor or hopeless, stop. Instead, ask, what would Source call this person? What name would reflect their highest potential, not their current struggle? Hold that vision for them, even silently. That's how you bless with will instead of curse with pity. Guard the flame. Pick one sacred hour a day where you are ruthless about attention. No complaints, no distractions, only vision and gratitude. End the day by replacing one fearful thought with a vision, affirmation, or truth that affirms increase. Spark query. Why is it that the more I direct my will towards vision and gratitude, this more spirit multiplies life for me and through me? So hopefully you found some value in chapter 9 about the will. Keep checking back for some more Science of Getting Rich. This is the Remixed edition, which is a little bit more modern language with some ways of thinking that neuroscience wasn't around when Wallace D. Wattles wrote the original version. So thanks and have a good day.